Genius for life. Coconut smoothies coming at you.
Hello there. Welcome to episode 23 of 15 Minutes of Genius, sometimes 20 Minutes of Genius, sometimes 25 minutes, but either way, we're still calling the show 15 Minutes of Genius. I'm going to dig my heels in on that one. Big plug to my guy, Mark Nicholas, Mark N. at ManhattanBeachStudios.net. What's amazing about him is he's done photography for us, for bottles, for packaging. We have actually a great package coming out in a store near you that he helped shoot. So, really excited to be working with him. You should work with him too. He's awesome. Right, I'm going to roll right into my guest here. No stranger to me. I've known him for 5 years. He discovered us at a cafe, actually. So big credit to him for helping us get into Whole Foods. Chuck Casano. He is the co-founder and CEO of Pitaya Plus. For those that have been under a rock and never been to a juice bar, Pitaya Plus is there. Any juice bar you go to, they're there, guaranteed. It's a dragon fruit and also other exotic fruits in convenient frozen pouches. I'm going to do another intro here very quick. It's a brand, Pitaya Foods, a brand whose simple mission is to promote sustainable farming, support the communities we source from, and produce the healthiest products possible. Pitaya was launched by selling our dragon fruit out of the back of a Prius. At least it's sustainable, the car, to juice bars throughout Southern California. Pitaya Foods has since expanded their line to a full portfolio of tropical fruits and can be found at amazing retailers such as Costco, Whole Foods, Kroger, Target, Publix, and juice bars around the country. Mr. Chuck, how you doing, my friend?
Good, bud. How are you?
Doing really good. Thanks for joining us. It is 8 o'clock. I know we have a lot of lighting here to make it seem like this is during the day, but this is nighttime. This is 8 o'clock at night. I was actually nervous even asking you because you're a family man, an entrepreneur. I'm like, 8 o'clock, is that going to work? And you're like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do this. So thank you again for joining us on the show.
No problem. I'm taking tomorrow off, so I'm working to the last minute.
There you go. I love it, man. I love it. I'm glad I caught you on the right day. So talk to us about Pitaya Plus. I got to start with that because I am fascinated with sourcing. Like, we source coconuts from abroad. You source pitaya, dragon fruit from abroad. I've heard this story. It's a great story from other podcasts. Tell us how you got into dragon fruit. Why dragon fruit? What are the benefits of dragon fruit? And how did you pull off all the supply chain to make this all happen and scale Pitaya?
Yeah, I mean, if just taking 1 or 2 minutes, it kind of steps back to, I was working in sales in Manhattan after graduating and thought I wanted to get into finance. And, it's kind of on theme with the pandemic going on right now. I went and did my MBA over in Spain, and I graduated in 2008 and graduated during, the financial crisis. I was supposed to start a job in investment banking at Bear Stearns, and literally the week that I'm starting, they're imploding. And, my friends are like, leading up to the job, they're like, listen, Bear Stearns is going down. I'm like, what do you mean Bear Stearns? I went in their building. They have a huge building. There's people, they're like, it's going down. I didn't even understand what was going on. And so they fell. And then I obviously never got that job. And then that same team went over to Lehman Brothers, and they're like, okay, let us get our feet under us. And then once we're set, we'll bring you over here.
Right.
And then, what happened with Lehman Brothers.
Yeah.
And then I just found myself in New York City, like, what am I going to do? This is the world telling me I shouldn't be in banking. And it was eye-opening seeing a lot of these people that I'm interviewing with who'd spent the last 20, 30 years of their careers working at these places, and their retirement plans like evaporated overnight. And so, it was really scary. I wasn't getting a job, and I had a friend who I did my MBA with, and she was working for a nonprofit down in Nicaragua. And she said, we have a fellowship grant available. So if you want to apply. And I went and applied, and thank God I got it. And I was on the next flight down to Nicaragua and trying to turn that crisis into something positive. And what the nonprofit that I was working in was pretty heavily invested in agriculture. And I grew up in Long Island in the suburbs. I had zero experience with agriculture. But one thing that was really eye-opening in Nicaragua, it's the second poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. And so because of that, a lot of farmers can't afford pesticides, so it's like almost default organic. And so my experience there, I just saw a huge untapped resource of organic raw material. I wasn't necessarily, stuck on dragon fruit, but dragon fruit, all the origins of the fruit can be traced back to Nicaragua before it was a country, and it only got to Asia by way of missionaries bringing it from Central South America over there, and Asians started cultivating it. So I was down there, and I came back. The fellowship was like 8 months. Came back to New York City, and coconut water was blowing up, and acai was blowing up, and I'm just like, where's my dragon fruit smoothie that I was eating every day in Nicaragua? And kind of like took some time to understand the supply chain down there, and was fortunate enough to meet an American guy down in Nicaragua who's just starting his business exporting dehydrated organic fruits. And I partnered up with, I talked to him about my project. I'm like, listen, I just wanted to get the frozen pulp out. How do we do that? And we just built this whole frozen supply chain together from scratch. And so, with that, we started working with the farmers, and all these farmers are very skeptical of what you can do for them. They've had like big Dole and Chiquita comes down there, and once they realize they can't supply 300 million Americans with this product, they don't really care about it. So nobody had really been exporting it at the time, and we just made a promise to the farmers: whatever USDA organic dragon fruit that you can produce, we'll purchase from you. And so we kept that promise for, still today. And we help them get organically certified. We help manage their certificates, and that's kind of how we can protect ourselves. And then we're also working with the farmers in the off season to give them organic inputs and really develop that relationship that is now, I can't even believe it, it's like over 10 years old that we've been working with some of these same farmers. Like I go back down there, and these little babies that were on the farm are now like these huge 10-year-old boys and girls, and like it's just never really thought it would last as long as it did. And and so we started exporting it, my partner and I, Ben Hiddlestone. We just started hitting all the juice bars around San Diego, and it was the funniest sales pitch. We'd have like these frozen smoothie packs of dragon fruit, and we'd go in there, for your coconut smoothie. We'd try and find the whitest thing on the menu of like a coconut smoothie, and then we'd say, oh, can you just put this pack of dragon fruit in there? I love it. And they're like, okay, fine. They start blending it up, and it just turned the blender electric pink, and they're like, what is this stuff? We're like, what's dragon fruit? Like, where'd you get it from? We're like, we tell them the story, and they're like, hey, we got a Prius full of it. They're like, all right, give us a case. And so we just like, that was our sales pitch. We'd like, once we just got it into these juice bars blenders, they would just start freaking out. And it was a great product to sell because it's just natural. We were selling one ingredient. There wasn't anything added to it. We're just selling fruit. And so we were on the grind for like 8 years, and our mission was just like sell dragon fruit, sell dragon fruit, sell dragon fruit to everyone you could possibly manage. And we got Kroger nationally. We were dealing with Jamba Juice. We were really heavy in food service. And we're a successful brand, and we're doing really well. But about 2 years ago, Ben and I really stepped back, and we're like, what is the value of our company? Like, what makes us valuable? And it was pretty obvious that our customers and like the 50 distributors that we were working with was the true value of our company, and our customers wanted more from us. And so we decided to like build out these other supply chains and start importing fruits. And really, what we were seeing in the retail category was there was a lot of Pitaya foods, right? Like we were the kings of dragon fruit, and then there was like the king of frozen coconut, and then there's the king acai. And so we're like, the category was just so fragmented, and we're like, let's take this, let's put together this portfolio for one. And now when we go to retailers saying, hey, you don't have to deal with 5 different suppliers for this set. You can deal with us. We can go in, we can promo heavy, we can give you the lowest cost, because we've got more than one SKU in there. And so we did a rebrand with Purely Righteous Brands. They were Greg Fleischman and his team. They were great.
Yeah, I love Greg.
They took direction from us, and we really, really worked hard with them. And I'll say, whatever you'll get out of those guys, what you put in, and we were really happy. We were excited with what we presented, and then so being excited is one thing. It matters like what the customers think.
Mm-hmm.
So we had our global review with Whole Foods, and we were the first ones to pitch this new line to them. And at this time, we're a global brand with Whole Foods with dragon fruit in every store, and we're like, okay, here's what we want to present this, and they were like, oh my god, we love it. We want to do the whole line. And so thank God we got it launched and authorized before COVID, because we were on shelf nationally in
and it's usually
February.
not that easy, right? Like, it takes like you probably were shocked in the buyer meeting, oh my God, like I presented it and then they said, yeah, we'll take the entire line. You're probably thinking walking in to the meeting, maybe they'll take like 3 out of 5 or 2 out of 5 or, half of them. But for them to take all of them really speaks volumes to the partnership you have with them, the trust you have that, you both have for each other, and also how well your dragon fruit, your core product is doing. Yeah. So I wanted to, taking a step back, and it's just a really fascinating story and talking about dragon fruit in general, because again, I'm gearing this towards the entrepreneurs watching, they come out with a new product, they're hitting the streets, pounding the pavement like what you and Ben did, selling to juice bars. How do you, like with something that people don't know about, how are you able to get over that hurdle to like educate people? Because obviously you got to spend a lot of money, like marketing dollars and demos, but how do you get people to like understand what this product is and what are the benefits? Because you were fighting uphill because you were the first really to come out with it.
Because like we were just, dragon fruit is really a really special fruit because of its color, right? And so
it attracts people.
We grew up in the food service channel, and so we were doing demos at juice bars. We didn't even have a retail plan. We didn't go into retail with our frozen line until like 3 years of success in the food service channel. And so we would educate them, and it's like, as it turned their blender pink, they're just asking questions. So it was like a really good, back and forth. And so those juice bars then did an amazing job. They were like our ambassadors for dragon fruit, because people would come in and be like, hey, what's new? Well, we got this electric pink dragon fruit. You should try it. It's pretty. And they would give this story. And so they did such a good job educating that those customers would go to their juice bar, and then they were going to Whole Foods and they're like, we had this thing at this juice bar. Where is it? And then that's when we started developing a retail line with, in Southern California with Whole Foods.
Yeah, and I think it really goes to show that a lot of consumers buy with their eyes before they buy with their stomachs. So if they see something that's amazingly colorful, and then also the word dragon fruit, I mean, it's, what I knew about it is high antioxidants. And, when you look at any exotic fruit, whether it's kiwi or pitaya or a papaya, I'm thinking papaya, it has really high antioxidants, and it's just kind of like inherent, like you just know that it's probably good for me if it's exotic and from another country, and it's a really bright color. I couldn't believe how bright it was when I remember when you came to our small commissary, right, to pick up some Genius Juice samples, because you also are a partner at High Touch, whole other conversation. I think Czar covered all those bases, but you gave me a smoothie pack, and I tried it at home with Genius Juice as a base, and I'm like, this looks amazing. It just looks amazing. And so, yeah, I kept blending it, and I think acai, the frozen packs, I think it's a natural kind of progression to go to Pitaya. But it's amazing that, I guess maybe sometimes you don't give yourself enough credit, right? You're very humble, Chuck, where you took a fruit that was relatively unknown in America, right? You were the pioneer. You brought it in and made it into a national brand in thousands of juice stores, thousands of retailers. And I'm actually really impressed that people at Target and Kroger and Publix, it speaks to them and they buy it. Are you the line that you have, right? The one that's in Whole Foods, is that also available in other retailers, or is that exclusive to Whole Foods?
No, it's that line. We've got it now in Target, Publix. They're not the full line, but they've all taken on like 2 or 3 more SKUs.
Yep.
And so yeah, it's our goal this year was to get our line into 25% of our current, like we weren't looking for new customers this year. We just wanted to go deeper with our current customers. And our goal was we set the goal at 25%. And I think we're at like 25%, 30% to finish the year. So that's our growth strategy for the next 2-3 years, is just get our line into our current customers.
Exactly. And, more people, I mean, I've talked about COVID on the show before, but I think people are cooking at home more and making smoothies at home more, right? Because of juice bars.
There's a lot of fatigue. Yeah. There's a lot of fatigue from cooking at home right now, and there's nothing easier to, cook than a smoothie, right? So we are just riding. The frozen section is up incredibly. Like suddenly the frozen section is the hottest section in the supermarket because people want quality, they want value, and they want long shelf lives, and so that's what we want. We're trying to deliver on.
Exactly, and delivered. You definitely did. I remember when COVID first hit in March, the frozen aisles were obliterated. Like they were empty. I'm sure you were also like just struggling to keep up, right, and get product back, into the stores and get it restocked. But I talked about with my guest Eric. He's an investment banker, and we talked about right place, right time, and you might be an overnight success after 6 or 7 years. And I think for 10 years, I think the trend is finally really hitting on the retail side. It's always been there for juice bars, but in the last year or so, retail side, it's really that trend of bringing it home, making it yourself, having control of what goes in the blender, whether it's some kale or apples or protein plus pitaya. People are adopting that lifestyle even more, and it's been accelerated now because of what's going on.
I mean, when the pandemic hit, we had our whole line in every Whole Foods, and every single item that we had on the shelf ended up in somebody's freezer. There was not one. So we just got an incredible millions of dollars worth of trial and we are really like a habitual brand. Like once we're in your blender, once we're in your routine, you're going to keep adding us to the shopping cart. And so that's our plan.
Exactly. I love it, man. I mean, I am just incredibly impressed by what you've done with Pitaya, and also the fact that you're a partner in High Touch, which, again, you're going to be airing right after Czar. So it's going to be a power combination of Czar and then you.
Nice.
And again, I think he set Czar, who's on our previous episode 22. He's one of the founders of High Touch and COO. He probably set the record as the most minutes logged for a 15 minutes of Genius episode, and you're probably not surprised that he did that. So
yeah, not at all.
Yeah. So all right, man. Well, thank you again for joining us, Chuck. I love hearing your story. Love seeing your face, and thank you again for being a great partner on the High Touch side. And congratulations on all your success with Pitaya.
All right, take care, buddy. Pleasure talking to you.
You too, man. All right, so that is episode 23 of 15 Minutes of Genius. 23, like Michael Jordan, good player. And so we're honoring him with this episode. That's what I want people to think. All right, so again, big plug to Manhattan Beach Studios. This guy over here, right behind the computer, Mark Ann at ManhattanBeachStudios.net for all your editing desires. He's amazing. And I think I've gotten him a lot of new clients. I got to start getting on commission, so I get a part of this. I'm just kidding. So thank you again. And one last thing, stay genius, my friends.
Genius for life. Coconut smoothies coming at you.